Goedemorgen Dutch Comic Con. Ja, wacht, we moeten even wat meer sfeer creëren. Heroes Dutch Comic Con, wintereditie 2025. Zijn jullie een beetje wakker? Dat kan harder. Mensen, kom naar het podium. Mensen, kom naar de mainstage. People, come join me. We got a legendary Q&A set up to start this day and this weekend. Zijn jullie klaar voor vandaag? Ik wil even iets meer energie. Zijn jullie klaar voor vandaag? Okay, kijk. I'm gonna switch to English right now because we got a legendary actor that's gonna kick off this weekend. But before we start, if you want to grab a selfie, get an autograph, you do it at the guest square, right? Ik ben daar zelf natuurlijk ook later met mijn eigen merchandise. Ik ga weer op tour, kom even langs bij mij. Maar kom ook vooral langs bij Lumbly. So on stage it's just gonna be a Q&A. If you want to ask him anything, go ahead in a second. But first I'm gonna talk about him. This man has been around for decades. He was in Escape from Alcatraz in the 70s, Clint Eastwood classic. He was in so many movies. I want to mention this one. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Kent iemand die? It's a cult film, 1984 with Peter Weller, who played RoboCop. Anyway, he was in a TV show called Mantis. He was in Cagney and Lacey. He was in so many shows, so many movies. But of course, you may know him as Isaiah Bradley. Where are my Marvel fans? Come on, Utrecht, laat je horen. You know what I'm saying? The original Captain America. Don't play with me. So give him a warm Heroes Dutch Comic Con welcome. Here is the one and only Mr. Lumbly. Welcome, sir.
Sir, thank you.
We just met backstage, great energy. So before we go into the Q&A, guys and girls, if you have a question for Mr. Lumbly, think of what you want to ask and you can line up behind the mic in a second. But before we talk about your extensive career, man, could you tell us how it started for you? I mean, you were born in Minneapolis, if I'm not mistaken?
Minneapolis, Minnesota. My family from Jamaica.
By way of Jamaica?
Yes.
And then you started as a journalist?
That's correct. I started as a journalist, worked as a journalist for a couple of years, and I was assigned a story about a theater. And when I got there early and they handed me a card, which I thought was an audience survey card, but it turned out to be an audition card. And I thought it would be great to write the story from that perspective. So I went through the audition process and I happened to get cast. I told them that I was a journalist.
Wow.
And then they called back and said, it doesn't matter if you want, we'd like you to be a member of the company. I joined the company for a year and a half, and then the rest just kind of tumbled out.
Wow, so you started as a journalist and then from there on you kind of got into the plays and the theater work?
First stage, I started off in stage. I did stage for 2 years. And then I had moved to San Francisco. I went from San Francisco to Los Angeles and got agents and began doing film work and television work.
Because would you say, I'm always interested, I think, well, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the stage is such a great way to learn the craft before you do movies.
Absolutely, stage is foundational as far as I'm concerned. Nothing would have happened for me if I hadn't had that experience on stage. And I'm not, I don't think it's necessarily, I have the personality for it, but when you do theater, you do the training that's necessary to handle it in the room. And that's what conversation is, and I think that's what story is. So
exactly, because I've had a conversation with Denzel Washington once, and he told me as well, like, the stage, you can't do it again. It's like, it's right there with the audience, and he's actually kind of more into that than the camera work. Like,
no, definitely.
He has no control over what the director's going to use, and on stage, he kind of can control what he can do more.
Absolutely.
It's one take.
That's right. And you don't get a chance to do it over in life, generally. Whatever encounter you have with people, it's one shot. So I think it's more like life. And that's
Glover?
Danny Glover and I met when I first moved to San Francisco. I was looking for a couch, and they had an ad called Performing Arts Column, and they were looking for 2 black actors to be in a South African political play. And it was a play called Sizwe Banzi is Dead, so I went to the theater, I auditioned, and the other actor who was auditioning, it was a 2-actor play, and the other actor was Danny Glover, and we've been friends ever since. That was 1977.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing, because that's another one of my favorite actors, man.
Yeah,
we kind of grew up on both of you, so, and your body's work.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I just wanted to check, because you read it online. It's like I gotta ask.
Yeah. No, dear friend, and just
and you did Namibia
man.
in 2007, right?
Sorry.
The film Namibia in 2007.
Namibia, yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. I played Joseph Nyoma, who was the president of Namibia, who had been leader of the revolutionary movement to gain freedom for the country. So. And Danny was in that, and also, I believe Danny was also a producer on that.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys checked that out, Namibia. And then also, didn't you play Bobby Seale at one point?
Yes, I did. For HBO.
What film was that again?
That was HBO, The Conspiracy, Chicago 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, like I said, I told you backstage, but you have been in so many classic TV shows. Let me name a few. Battlestar Galactica. The X-Files,
yes,
Grey's Anatomy, and then I want to speak about this particular kind of cult show, if I may say so, Mantis.
Oh yes, Mantis.
Anybody knows Mantis? You got to check out Mantis. It stands for Mechanically Augmented
Neurotransmitter
Interception System.
Yes.
And he had the main role, and you said somewhere in an interview that it was ahead of its time.
Yes.
I mean, it was a TV movie pilot?
It started off as a TV pilot, and then that movie was picked up by the network. I think initially we got an order for 22 shows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, why do you think it was pretty short-lived for originally such a phenomenal concept with you and just the way it was set up? I loved it, and then it seemed like these are my words, but kind of like they changed it, or it was more watered down, or they changed the concept or something?
Brian, I think what I would say is that, like all of us, we all mature. And the industry, the television industry in the States, had to mature to be able to accept a black superhero. And the maturation level was enough to accept the idea of it, but maybe not enough to sustain it.
Wow. Hey, make some noise for Mr. Carl Lumbly.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I felt that. And so you guys check out Mantis. That TV pilot is crazy. You can check it on YouTube probably. I'm trying to buy the DVD, but it's really hard to get.
It's hard to get. It's hard to get. But it started something, because I think a lot of what we see now is the maturation of the industry.
Exactly.
And when you take into account something like what Marvel did with Wakanda and Black Panther, I think there's definitely a continuum there.
Yeah, but and Isaiah Bradley won't talk about that more. Amazing. So you have been part of some of the most interesting science fiction kind of like shows, and sometimes horror even. Because I wanted to mention The Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh yes.
Anybody knows The Fall of the House of Usher? Netflix? There you go.
Netflix, yeah.
Mr. Lumbly's in there as well. Is that like a coincidence, or do you love science fiction yourself, or?
I love science fiction. I don't love horror, but I do love science fiction. But it's I guess it's happy accident, or I feel like the things that have come to me because I was supposed to get the opportunity to do them, so I just try to be ready for whatever comes up. I don't have necessarily a favorite genre as much as I like interesting characters. And
right.
Sometimes science fiction provides more interesting characters than other styles and genres.
Definitely, and also in that show on Netflix, you kind of like command with just a look on your face. It kind of, the way you play in that show.
I got that from my mother.
She was not playing around.
No, neither of my parents. Part of what they felt the responsibility of loving me was to guide me, and sometimes if you're going off path, there isn't time to shout, so you have to be able to do it with a look.
So, and you conveyed that in the show for real. Even in the trailer, if you look at that trailer, Fall of the House of Usher, like, it's amazing what you do there. It kind of reminds me of Pacino in Heat even, like, well, how he just could be like, ha! And he takes over the whole scene by just saying one thing. And you don't even speak and you take over the scene.
Well, I think the key for acting, in my view, is listening. I think, acting is about being present. And the only way to really be present as an actor is to listen to what is happening around you and be ready to respond. And sometimes that response is merely letting people know that you heard what they had to say.
I totally understand that. And what was it like to work with Mike Flanagan, who also did Dr. Sleep?
Yes, Mike Flanagan, I think, is a genius, and it's always a pleasure to work with a genius. He's also a beautiful human being, and he believes in family. So what he has created is an opportunity for actors to come together. You become kind of a part of his family, and once he views you that way, he keeps bringing you back. So I feel fortunate to be part of that Flanagan. I think they call it the Flaniverse now.
Oh wow, the
Yes,
Flaniverse?
the Flaniverse.
Incredible. So, Isaiah Bradley, Carl Lumbly, you are Isaiah Bradley in the legendary Marvel shows and movie. I mean the show and the movie. Mm-hmm. Brave New World, iemand gezien? Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the show before that? You seen that too?
Oh, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Make some noise if you love those Marvel shows and movies. So there's this incredibly calm, authority kind of vibe, yet a vulnerable, almost bitterness, and authentic uniqueness about how you portray that character with this mental and physical flexibility of the perfect human, the super soldier thing, but then also the pain of injustice done to the character underneath those layers of strength and power, which reveals so much of a solid personality. And you have this organic way of conveying all these emotions of that calm yet authoritarian character on screen. Now, how do you prepare for a role like that?
I believe I prepare for that role the way I prepare for every role. I do research. I try to get as much information as I can about what that character has been through and the time surrounding that character. And in this case, for me, Isaiah Bradley is, yes, he's about the fact that he had the serum and there was a lot done to him that was wrong, but he also was quite heroic. He went on a mission that was supposed to be a suicide mission, and he survived that. And he came back from that mission and he was put in prison and he survived that. So beyond everything else and all the bitterness he could feel, I think is the joy of survival. And the key to his survival is love. He was married to a woman called Faith, so he maintained his faith through everything that happened to him, including being separated from her and having been in prison after she passed away. But he still holds on to that. So there's, with faith in your heart, there's only so much true damage that can be done to you. You can have limbs removed, you can have your mind altered, but I don't think you can ever lose love in your heart. And so that's what he holds on to for survival.
Wow, that's amazing. Because Isaiah Bradley is probably one of the most interesting story arcs in the whole MCU, I think. And would you say, like, so the Falcon and the Winter Soldier showrunner Malcolm Spellman, he stated in an interview, I think with the Hollywood Reporter, he said something like this. Isaiah Bradley represents Sam Wilson's fears overtaking the Captain America title. So Isaiah is the living embodiment of Sam's doubt, and Isaiah tells the truth. You feel that's correct?
I do think that's true, because I think Isaiah doesn't understand the world that Sam is living in now. He has a full understanding of the world that he was able to survive. But Sam represents moving forward into the future. And Isaiah doesn't really commit himself to the future in the same way before he meets Sam. But I think Sam inspires him, as I believe the generations do. There's a responsibility for the generation that came before to reach back, but there's also a generation for the responsibility for the generation coming forward to communicate what the world is like right now. Elders can't know that. They can only know what they survived. So I think it's about the conversation between generations.
Very true. It's about the conversations between generations. I love that. Because we can't judge each other. You know, we can learn from each other. And actually, I'm a hip-hop artist, and one of the elements of hip-hop culture is each one teach one knowledge. So
yes,
I think it's very true. So one more question, and then we're going to go into the Q&A. If you have a question for Mr. Carl Lumbly, line up in front of the mic, behind the mic, and we're going to do it. So if you have a question, please line up. So I wanted to know, do you get your inspiration from other actors, and if so, from who?
I definitely get my inspiration from other actors. Because I wasn't trained as an actor, I think I came to acting from the same place as most people do in audiences. I respected language and story and craft. The idea that you take it seriously and that you're doing it for a reason, as I say, to help show people what life is or reflect what life is about. So first, of course, was Sidney Poitier, who, because he was a Caribbean man, he represented things that I knew from my father and from certain men that I knew. Also, there were any number of actresses that I really respected, Madge Sinclair being one of them. I worked with Tyne Daly, who was also I would say a mentor for me. But I think Denzel would be another one. I think I respect people who take it seriously and who believe in art, because I believe in art. I think that's living artistically is a challenge, but it's also a triumph. And I know a lot of people who are as talented, who didn't get the opportunity, who could be sitting here. So I feel a responsibility to represent them and do them proud.
That's great. I love that. So we're going to move into the Q&A. Start with the first question for Carl Lumbly. Hi.
Hello.
It's very good to meet you. My name is Marissa. I have a question. What would you say are you most proud of, either in your career or in your life? Because when you started as an actor and you grew, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous.
No problem, Marissa. I'm nervous too.
Okay. Because I actually, one of the questions that I wanted to ask was your last one. So I was like, that was a question. But I really want to know what you're proud of.
What you're proud of?
Yeah.
Good question.
I think what I'm most proud of is, you know, there's acting and there's show business. And I feel like I've been able to have a certain success in acting and in show business without changing my personality, without giving away who I believed I was. I feel very much the same way today that I felt when I was 12 and 13 years old, huddled in the stacks of the library, with no thought about being an actor, just joy in living and walking around in stories. I think we are fascinating as human beings, and I think our stories are so similar no matter where we come from. I mean, this is my first visit to Amsterdam, but you know, the feeling here is no different from the feeling I have in Jamaica. It's just people with stories, some of whom I know and some I don't, some who are surviving. I look around, I see people in cosplay. I would never do that, but I really enjoy seeing that. So I think that's what I'm most proud of. I love what I do, and I think I have a joy in being an artist, but I don't think that separates me out. It's just another craft. I would feel as happy being a good plumber.
Wow. That's a great answer. Thank you so much.
Nice outfit.
Yes.
Hey. Thanks. Hey, how you doing? Next question.
I just want to say, you were amazing in your role in Marvel as Isaiah Bradley, of course, but you're also a DC alumni. You were the voice of Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
So, okay, so I guess one very small question, DC or Marvel, and then the bigger question is, you spoke about the differences from acting on a stage and then acting in live action, let's say, but then also what's the difficulties or differences from voice acting where you can't convey any physicality like you did in Fall of House of Usher, for example, as you mentioned earlier, compared to merely only using your voice and emoting with just a single, aspect of yourself.
Right. I think for voice work, you never only use your voice, so I feel like the same research, everything that I do on stage, I do in voice work. I think the only challenge is because you can't rely on your tricks. It all has to come straight from your heart into your voice, and that has to carry the weight of your character. And I like that. I like that work a lot. I prefer stage. That's my first love. But I think voice work has a very strong niche, and that particular character, Jean Jones, was. He fulfilled a lot of things because as the child of an immigrant family, I understood what it would be like to go from your home planet to a crazy place like Earth and want to try and not only fit in, but begin to want to protect these beings who are completely different from you, but share certain similarities. And so I think I love John Jones because I think he embodied a sort of a calm attention to humanity, and he wasn't human.
Yeah, I loved him too, and then of course you got to play his father in Supergirl as well. So.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Which is wonderful to see how well you've grown up, because the actor who played John, David Harewood, is just magnificent. So we had a tremendous amount of fun, and I have a son, and I've seen how he's come forward and become his own person, and that was kind of the joy of playing that character's father, was to see how he's become his own Martian.
Great, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, great question, bro. It's actually my next one, so thanks. Thank you. Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
I have what was your difficulty role to play in the movie?
The most difficult role?
Yes.
The most difficult role, Carl?
I don't know if it was the most difficult role, but I once played Bobby Seale, who was an individual who was one of the founders of the Black Panther Party and came under tremendous scrutiny. There was a trial in which he was literally dragged from the courtroom and bound in a chair and gagged and brought back into the courtroom because the judge didn't want to hear what he had to say anymore.
Yes.
And that was probably the most, even as I'm sitting here telling you about it, that was a very difficult thing for me to do because the unfairness was so evident, and he was helpless in a way, but he was also representing a large number of people, so that gave him power. So that would be my answer to that.
Nice, thank you.
Yes, sir, you too.
Great question, thanks. Hey.
Hi, nice
Hello.
to meet you. I was wondering, what was it like Working on the Fall of the House of Usher, did you have a favorite moment to shoot or a favorite scene? Just want to know what it was like.
It was wonderful. First, one, because I love Mike Flanagan. I think he is brilliant. Two, because the scenes between myself and Bruce in that room, it became its own world. And what I said earlier about listening being, I think, the key. I got an opportunity to do a lot of listening, and then also responding. And the fact that that story spanned both of our lifetimes, and that my character Augie had as much to do with where we were, I would say that's some of my favorite scene work in my career so far.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
It's a really fun scene to see, and I loved it.
Also, at the very end, it's probably difficult to tell, but when the house was falling apart, there's a scene of my character running for the door and sliding the last 12 feet, and I was very proud of that.
Yeah, it was really cool to watch.
We are proud of that too.
You did great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice you're asking about that show. Thanks. Yeah. Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
First of all, very nice to meet you. Thank you for
Nice meeting you.
being here with us. I had a question because you've done work that's been set in Namibia, in South Africa. I'm from South Africa originally, so it's always really nice to see actors getting involved in work in those countries as well. So I wanted to ask if that work came to you, or if you've also been drawn to doing work that's been set in different contexts, and also if you feel that you gained anything from those kind of experiences.
So I think, in answer to the first part of your question, I think it's both. I think the work came to me, but I'm drawn to that work, and I don't know, it becomes cyclical, right? So maybe I'm more available for it because I'm looking forward to doing it. I think, again, making sense of characters I don't understand or I'm not familiar with, situations that I can't imagine. That's the joy, that's the meat of acting for me. And I'm sorry, the second part of your question?
Yeah, just if you feel that you gain something personally from those.
Insight-wise?
Wow. Yes. I feel like it makes me humble because I realize that there are people who go through much worse than I do. You know, we all have that thing that happened to us that we think nobody has it as tough as I do. And then you learn about other stories. In Namibia, as an example, because Nyoma led the revolution and then had to figure out how to govern, and the challenge of moving from one to the other, and the challenge of not falling prey to power, or falling prey to power and having to pay the responsibilities for that, pay the consequences for that. I think that was very vital for me to play with, and I think it helps my understanding of human life when I have to figure out how to make my way through as a character. So yes, it contributes to my understanding and it humbles me.
Nice.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, great questions. Thanks. Yeah. Next question. What's up, bro?
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you, man.
I got a question. I love your work on DC's Justice League, Martian Manhunter, John Jones.
Thank you.
Yes. What was it like voicing Martian Manhunter, like one of the strongest DC superheroes?
It was a joy voicing him, in part because this is a character who did not have a chance to talk to anyone for several hundred years because of all of his Martian family had been killed. And so most of what he did was think. And so in voicing him, I felt that he was unused to using his voice. And because he had the ability to read people's minds, he could have cheated, but he wasn't willing to do that because that's not the human way. So I appreciated the fact that much of what he said, it was almost like talking to yourself. It was intimate, I think.
Nice. Great question, man.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Yeah. Hey, we got somebody with a nice outfit.
Hi, hello.
Yes, hi, my name is Maria, and I was wondering, what did it feel like to play in the sequel from The Shining? Because The Shining is such a cult and everything, and I can think the pressure is really high, especially after such a long time. And what is the thing that you think that you brought to the role of Dick?
It was a real privilege and an honor to play Dick Halloran in Dr. Sleep, in part because I knew Scatman Crothers, who was very kind to me when I first got to Hollywood. And I thought that he was perhaps underappreciated as an actor because he had been a singer and he had done a lot of things, and he just had a calm sort of demeanor, and I thought he was brilliant in the role. So when Mike asked me to be a part of it, I was terrified, and also I knew that I would have to shave my head, which I did happily, because I wanted to do justice to that role. I think Dick Halloran is someone who understands things beyond our understanding and recognized that this little boy had the same gift, and with that gift came the same vulnerabilities. And so he wanted to be a part of giving him, of empowering him and allowing him to move through with as much safety as you can have in a situation where you have that kind of power. And what I think I brought to it was I was able to listen to him, and I believe there are energies and powers beyond what we know. I've lived with that my entire life, so getting a chance to embody that in a role was very special for me. So, yeah. You're welcome.
Have a great day.
You too.
You too. Great question, by the way. Yeah, man.
Hi,
Hi.
nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
I used to really love watching Alias with my father. And I was wondering, there's a lot of action in the show. Is there any stunts you really wish you can perform yourself? Like, for example, that Jennifer could do or your stunt double could do?
Well, I would say there were a number of things that I did myself that when I look back on it, I'm happy that I had the opportunity to do, but I also have a tremendous amount of respect for the stunt people who make you look like you've done what you can do. And since it is collaborative, the whole enterprise is, from writers to makeup to actors to directors to stunt people. I think they do it better than I could do in most instances, unless it was running at the time, because I had a lot of ego about my running. So.
Okay, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
That was another show you did. Yeah. And then I wanted to know, you also played in A Cure for Wellness as Wilson. That was Gore Verbinski, right?
Yes, that's right.
Because that's one of my favorite directors. The Weatherman is brilliant to me.
Oh yeah.
What was it like working with him?
It was great working with Gore. He's almost like an impressionistic painter. There's no drawing beforehand, there's no sketching with him. It's colors and
Wow.
it's movement and energy. And that's the way in which he directs, and I think that's why there's a kind of an energy inside his films that is unusual. Now, that particular film was dark, and my character was greedy and avaricious and did not really care that much about human beings and what they did. That's a challenge for me because I do care a lot, but I think that playing someone who has missed out on the things that have enriched me, which I think has to happen to leave someone in a place where they don't really care what happens to others, was a good exercise and made me grateful for being me and not being him.
Yeah, exactly. And then also I do want to go back to the 80s cult classic. I want to shine some light on the 84 film, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. I mean, that's such a quirky, weird, like 80s cult movie. I love it. You were in there with Dr. Peter Weller, who played RoboCop, to name one role. But what was it like to do that in that time, in that age, in that era with him?
Well, it was great playing a Jamaican from another dimension.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a very strange film relative to what we were used to. Once again, there was a script, but we didn't pay that much attention to it. The director-writer was very open to what happened, as we say, on the day. So sometimes he would come in with an idea of what a scene was supposed to be like, and then it would change as we were shooting it, and he was open to it. So it was very, very freeing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
And wild. And I'm astounded that that film actually not only held up, because at the time it was not well received. People thought, no.
People thought, no.
No. It didn't make sense. But over the years, I think it's, once again, maybe the industry has caught up with it and sort of allowed audiences to find films themselves and to make their own interpretation. I think that's part of what I think is happening overall. You all get a much greater opportunity with the number of things that there are out there and the different ways in which you can find them to make up your own mind about what a project is like and what it means to you. I think earlier on in my career, it was up to the critics. And if they said it was no good, then that was it. That's what determined it. Now it's wide open.
It's wide open because of streaming, but also because of all the reissues on Blu-ray and 4K formats.
Yes.
I mean, I discovered that film because I'm an Arrow fan. Like, they put out a lot of the reissues from the 80s and new transfers. That's how I got to know that film.
Okay.
But, I mean, later on, but I loved it. I missed it in the 80s. So check that out if you're interested. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Then, one more film I want to mention, Man of Honor, with Robert De Niro, right?
Oh, yes.
Anybody seen that, Man of Honor? Yeah. How you doing, Georgia? So, what was it like to work on a film like that with somebody like De Niro?
Well, he and I did not have scenes together, but it was thrilling to be in a film that he was in at the same time. And people always ask, or people always say there's no such thing as a small role. And I believe there is such a thing as a small role, but I don't think that you treat it that way. That character in that film, I feel as proud of my work in that, I think it's 7 minutes at the beginning of the film, as I have anything I've done. And Mr. De Niro complimented me on my performance, and I felt gratified by that because I respect his work and the way he goes about it as well.
Yeah. Amazing. Two craftsmen. I love it. Great backstory. Thanks. So we have about 3 minutes left. I just want to say, Isaiah Bradley, is there, like, can you speak on anything that's going to maybe go down in the future, or like Marvel-wise, or you can't say anything? And is there anything you can share?
I've written several sequels in my own mind. But
we do want to see those.
Yeah, but of course, you sign these contracts that, and Marvel doesn't play. It's a real universe.
Yeah.
And I don't know what their plan is, but my joy in having had the opportunity to do Falcon and the Winter Soldier and then Brave New World. I would love more, but I'm satisfied with what I have right now.
Of course, I totally understand. So let me rephrase that question and ask you, would you like to continue your role as Isaiah Bradley in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Does the sun rise in the east?
Let's go! So, if you want to get a picture or an item signed, you go to the guest square. We're going to wrap this interview up, but before we do, we're going to get up and we're going to take a little video with all of you. So I want to ask you to get up to get in the video with Mr. Carl Lumbly. Everybody, let's do this the right way.
And thank you for coming out Amsterdam.
Thank you, Utrecht. Make some noise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the legendary Mr. Carl Lumbly. Thank you, sir. Make some noise, yeah, thank you, sir. Make some noise, Carl Lumbly! One of the best people in the world, man, let me tell you.